In the golden age of streaming, with thousands of titles at our fingertips, sometimes it feels like there's just too much to watch. But you can't watch everything, and sometimes you shouldn't really even try. Welcome back to the films that streaming forgot, our ongoing quest to dig through the digital leftovers and see what's still festering at the bottom of the algorithmic barrel.
These aren't forgotten classics. They're barely remembered at all. But we're going in just to see if there's anything worth pulling out of the depth of streaming services. Will we find a hidden gem, or just more cinematic debris left to float in the algorithm's backwash? Stick around. The answer may surprise you, but probably won't.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris.
And before we jump into our forgotten film of the week, which is a very old series for the film angle, which we're bringing back. But before we jump back into that, Kris, you and I need to catch up, because even though there's been no breaks for our audience, there has been quite a big break for us. We haven't recorded a new episode together in, I'm going to say, nearly a month.
Has it actually been that long?
We're getting close to it. End of March.
It's been the best month of my life.
Is that right? Is that right?
No, you know what? There's it's such a double-edged sword. Like, the preparation that we've put into giving ourselves that stretch where we had an episode still coming out every week has almost kind of like stunted me. I'm like, I kind of like I've been watching movies, but like having the podcast has been such a great way to keep me on top of the endless gorge of cinema coming out at us all the time. So I'm a little bit behind, I'm gonna say, Alex.
Well, I've had a bit of a detox from film as well. Not intentional or anything like that, but obviously I went away. I went to New York for a week.
Wow. You touched grass.
Yeah, I touched grass, but there was no grass. There was no grass in New York. Well, not the stuff you touch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that stopped me from watching films because you're away. I think I watched one on the plane over there. I watched Horizon, an American Saga, because I thought, when else am I going to sit down and watch this 3.5 hour bit of a weird, looks like a TV show film, which it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, if not maybe slightly messier. But then when I came back, it was just kind of like mustering up the energy to, just watch a film again.
Sure.
So yeah, been kind of like slowly making my way back, but we're going to be back in full force. I always
find that the best way, this is completely anecdotal, but for me, whenever I have those little detoxes, I always find the best way for me to get back into it is to watch some really old movies that I really love. Like the other week, I rewatched, anybody who's on my Letterboxd would see that My Darling Clementine's my favorite film. I rewatched that the other week. I'm like, I love movies. And that's like, sometimes that's all you need. So, one or two of those. Don't go back in. I've had a month off and watch Netflix mid-movie. That probably will just like turn you away even further.
Yeah, there is that. But I did do some like kind of film related things on the New York trip. Did you want to hear about it, Kris?
Please do.
Or is this like being like, hey, can I show you my holiday pictures?
Which you did. No, but like, are you going to tell us that we've got some sort of big deal coming on, that we're going to have like Ryan Gosling on the show to talk to? It's going to be on that level, right?
No, it wasn't going to be on that level. I was just going to tell you all the silly things I did, like I dressed up as Spider-Man above Times Square. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like something you would do. Yeah, packed my very old Spider-Man costume in my bag, because I was kind of like sad. We spoke to Alfie and for our Venom episode, and I was like, I haven't even got like a Spider-Man t-shirt to go to New York with. And then I realized, I was like, I do have a Spider-Man costume.
That's not the only piece of Spider-Man clothing that you've got, right?
That is true. But I don't want to talk about the others.
Come on. You can tell them.
It might be Spider-Man underwear related.
Oh, barely underwear.
Barely underwear. But what we're talking about for the podcast is just the costume, okay? Which I did.
Sorry.
I did like to, because our hotel was just above Times Square. I did dress up and like stuck to the window, kind of.
Stuck to the window.
I don't know. I'll post some pictures on the Film Angle Instagram, so you can have people can go there if they want to see me in a Spider-Man costume. Another kind of film related thing was we went to 30 Rockefeller Center.
Sure.
Where they film all the late night shows. We weren't going there for a late night show, but we were actually there very early in the morning because we had jet lag, and we were just looking around the shop. But we were approached and asked if we wanted to join the reserve audience for the Late Night with Seth Meyers show. So
that is insane.
That was pretty insane. So we came back later that day for a 4 to 5 o'clock taping of the show, and it had Kit Connor on it, who was promoting Warfare, the new Alex Garland film.
Yeah.
And he's very big in Heartstopper, if you like that. And then Tracy Ellis Ross, who I keep forgetting the name of the film that she was in that we both enjoyed.
Oh, God. Don't do this to me.
American Fiction.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, she was.
Fiction.
Yes, well, I won't spoil anything, but she was like my favorite person in that movie, I think.
Yeah, she was great, and because she is like a comedy actress or a comedian, like the way she bounced off Seth Meyers was just like, like they are putting on a show. She's grown up with these kind of late night shows, whereas like for us, we don't really get that kind of late night show. We get like Graham Norton, Alan Carr, and John.
Yeah, or you get some like really like weird, awkward local thing.
Yeah, but they're very different. They're very different. Whereas these are like full blown comedy shows. You get a comedian comes out at the start, kind of riles you up, and you're just like clapping and cheering at everything. Cool. It was so weird to go behind the scenes and see how that was all made, especially because it was a bit of a surprise, I guess, as well. Of like,
and like you have like a certain idea. You don't even think about. You have like a certain idea. You always think like when you watch those live TV audiences and like the camera pans on those people in the audience, you're like, you don't even think of them as real human beings. They're almost like little like polygons in the back of a video game, like cheering you on. It's like but they were human beings. You were part of it.
We cheered and clapped at everything. It was a bit
like mad. You were told to.
Yeah, like we were told to. It was a very well-oiled machine. I've never it was like watching a show. It was like a theater production or something. Like the way just everybody knew where they were, everybody knew what their marks were. And you do this, then you've got a minute, then you do this, then you do this. Cue cards are at the ready, cameras are at the ready, the graphics are all ready to go. Us as an audience could see the screen where the graphics come up. So like we were kind of watching live, kind of watching a TV at the same time.
Yeah. So this is in the first 24 hours of you touching the continent, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was a bit
surreal,
especially because that was not planned into our very planned out trip. So that was very much like, all right, let's move some things around and do this. It can't really not take the chance to go see something quite so interesting. So that was very good. I'm trying to think of other kind of film related things. I guess a lot of the everything there is just very movies,
Yeah.
I'm like, I saw that in Spider-Man.
It's like, I mean, it's way cooler than I was thinking about the equivalent. In Northern Ireland, have you ever seen a Northern Ireland talk show before?
No.
We should do it sometime because they are absolutely god awful. They're about 11 o'clock at night. There's this one called the Nolan Show. He's this guy. He's absolute terrible human being, I will say.
Oh.
Terrible human being. And even most of the populace would agree. And he's got his own late show at 11 o'clock. And he just usually gets like people to come on the show and talk about the Troubles or something, or like get a 10-year-old girl to play. You usually always have the live music section where we get somebody like an artist to come on. Usually it's like some 11-year-old girl with a recorder. And,
oh dear.
And it's something to behold. So yeah, nothing on the level of what you did, but we gotta do that some night. It'd be funny.
That would be funny. Oh, I forgot to say as well, I want to showcase the power of the internet. Obviously we can't watch the Late Night with Seth Meyers show over here. They clip it up and put it on YouTube. You can do stuff like that, but the full show where you might actually see the audience and see yourself in it, can't watch. I might have to like download like a VPN.
Oh, I'm sure you've tried.
I've really tried. I just haven't paid out for the VPN because I'm tight. So I went on Reddit and I went on the Seth Meyers Reddit and just said like, can anybody help me? I want to find myself in the audience. I just want to see if we turned up. And somebody got in touch and messaged me and pulled me pictures from monitor screens of that episode of myself in the audience. And again, I'll put that on Instagram so people can see.
People are, I mean, like, they did not have to do that, right? That's so generous.
It was somebody from the show, which was
wow.
Pretty, I was like, I asked him, or it was supposedly anyway. I did say, "Are you working on the show?" And he mentioned, yeah. He was like, "Yeah, I kind of pull clips for this and that." And I was like, "Oh, no way!" So that I just thought, power of the internet. That's pretty cool that somebody's done that. And thank you, random stranger.
That's so cool because like, what have they got to gain from that? You know, that's sweet. I like that.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. But yeah, my trip was very good. And yeah, as you can imagine, the little film comic book nerd in me very much enjoyed seeing New York, even though it did demystify it a slight amount for me. You know, like it wasn't as picturesque as the movies made it.
Sure.
I mean, a little bit tired, a little bit more run down than I was expecting. But nevertheless... still loved it. Like that wasn't a letdown for me. It was just more of that kind of like, oh, this is a real place, not a movie.
Oh yeah, like that's so true. I mean, would it demystify it for me too? I guess like there always is that little 10% of me when I watch a New York based, certainly a good New York based movie, just has that sort of like your imagination just kind of like, because you get slithers of the city. You never really get like a full sort of like encompassing view of it. So your imagination kind of like assesses the geography in a different way. You know, when you watch something like you and I watched the Warriors before you went away, and like the idea of what the city is, and then you watch a Spider-Man movie, and it's all these different sort of like ideas of what New York can be. Yeah. And then you just get the objective view of what New York is. So
I felt a lot safer. I mean, safer
because you're in a warm blanket of pizza.
Yeah, and we didn't just stay in Manhattan. We went out to Williamsburg and Brooklyn and did some of the smaller neighborhoods on our pizza day, where we had went to 8 different pizza slice shops around New York. I love pizza. If anybody didn't know that. So we did a lot of jumping on transport and stuff, but I found, for the most part, New Yorkers to be very nice people. None of this grumpy asshole stuff that you hear about them.
Nobody said that they're walking and they happen to be here.
I think what happened was I'm quite a fast walker anyway, so I just went into that pace. And then if anybody stopped in front of me, I was like, "Hey, I'm walking here."
I hate slow walking.
Yeah, it was. I was like, "This is my city."
Yeah, I used to like have to walk to school like 40 minutes each way every morning and afternoon of my like whole like teenage life. So I just got such a fast stride from just the muscle memory of doing that. Like I can't do this sort of sauntering around, hands in my pocket sort of thing, and I'll look at the daisy there and look at the little goat over there. Well, where am I petting to? Anyway, I don't know why I said goat first, but like, I'm a fast walker too, Alex. I get it. I think I fit it.
Yeah. But yeah, I never ended up doing the New Jersey stuff. I know I said in an interview at one point that I might go to New Jersey, and I never did that just because it was too much to pack in. Yeah, it really was one of those trips you kind of had. I'm not really like a planner when it comes to holidays. I like to turn up with a few things in mind and then just kind of explore. But here it was like the plan down to the hour, just expensive, short amount of time, place I've always wanted to see. Like, I just have to see as much of it as I can. Kind of thing.
Yeah, it depends. It depends where you go. I think you do, like, when you think New York's really hard because you're like, right, there's some things I have to do. Like, I am inevitably going to be a tourist here. Like, I have to do some of the things or else I haven't been in New York, right? Yeah. I think it's the same as if an American went to London or something like that. They'll have to go see the Tower of London or else they haven't been in London. But then you want to kind of just get lost too. You want to just like, within reason.
Yeah.
you want to have some wits about you. But like I enjoy that too. I love going to European cities and just kind of like, just go in the direction. Like just go where the crowd's going. Let's point the other way and just walk down a few streets for an hour and just see what happens. And usually something pretty wonderful happens or something quite sweet happens, or, you know, like you end up eating at a restaurant that's where the locals eat and you meet some people, and yeah, that's the cool stuff.
That's the way to do it. And I must say, I did have some very good food over there. Very good food. Very much enjoyed it.
Don't.
I know, but I've already shown Kris the food pictures. Very happy. But I did say I was going to like try and recreate some for you next time you're over for a dinner. I always like to do that when I go somewhere and I eat something. I'm like, I'm going to now try and make this at home and see if I can recreate it. Yeah. Especially because some of these things I just won't be able to.
And you brought me back some nice souvenirs too. You got me a vintage baseball. I've got to look up that thing to see if I can trace it in any way. I don't know how traceable baseballs are.
It was a really cool like vintage store. I think it was Williamsburg rather than Brooklyn. I think it was that way. And it's called like Woke Vintage or something like that. But it was full of all this kind of like American childhood memorabilia. So old toys, a bucket full of old baseballs, like photographs and all like clothes, all kinds of stuff. But like, yeah, it was very much like a nostalgia vintage store.
Yeah, man.
More than anything. So yeah, when I saw that and I saw a bucket full of baseballs, I was like, yeah, I gotta get you one. Which I kind of wish I bought one for myself now.
Oh, do you want it back?
No, not at all. I can't do that.
It's like stealing candy from a baby.
But I was like, yeah, Kris will like this.
I do really, really like it. And actually, Lauren was like holding it yesterday at home. She's like, it's coming her new fidget toy all of a sudden.
I must say, very easy just to kind of like juggle around for a bit. Like very easy to do that.
Yeah, man. And you also got me some sauces, some premium sauces that I think if you were to buy them off, you know, if you're to buy them from here, it would cost you like 20 quid.
Can you actually? I must say, I
think 25 quid or something like that would cost you to have a bowl of Korean barbecue sauce that you got me.
Well, some of those I was looking for when I went out to see my brother in Canada. So when I found them in New York, because obviously you can get anything in New York, it was just a case of pick up one for me, one for you, because I knew you'd like it. So yeah, no, we like our food here on the Film Angle. So.
Absolutely. But the thing I worry about, though, is like, I don't know how I survived when I did Florida, because I'm somebody with a pretty weak stomach. Like, I love food, but like after 4 or 5 days of pretty heavy indulgence, things start to go pretty south for me very, very quickly. So like, how did you contend with eating like, one day you're eating 8 giant slices of pizza from various different locations, with all different ingredients, and then you're flying back home on like a 1-hour flight, like a 12-hour flight.
No, it wasn't that bad. It was like 7.5 hours.
Like a 7.5, still. In really cramped circumstances, you're not flying business class. I'd be a ruin at the end of that.
Yeah. I definitely felt it more in the final like 2 days more than anything. But I don't know.
Just being in an airport as well just upsets my stomach, because I'm not stressed, but my tummy doesn't like being in an airport.
Well, I do think especially when you're on the plane, the food is designed to like block you a little bit.
You reckon so?
Yeah,
there's like no fiber.
I don't know what it is, but like I don't know if I've read that or heard that somewhere. But also, I do feel like I just don't poo on planes.
I always felt shamed my entire life because people are like, "Oh, I don't poo in a school. I don't poo in public. I don't poo on a plane." I'm like, I gotta poo, I'm gonna poo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I've never pooed on a plane, but I just feel like the food is very much designed just to stop that from happening. Like, I just feel like I always feel a little bit bloated after eating plane food, and I was just assumed that it's just like all designed to block you up a little bit. And then they give you a snack right at the end, and I wonder if that's like all right,
that's it.
Unblock like you a little bit before the end. Maybe I'm overthinking this long flight food thing. Maybe.
I mean, like, what the gear is like? You're putting like a few hundred people on an airplane with like 10 toilets. You know, you gotta be careful.
Hey, that's what I'm thinking.
Anyway. Enough poo talk.
I do have a list of things that that kind of happened over the last few weeks that we never had a chance to talk about. So I'll scratch off New York trip, And then I've got Chicken Jockey.
Yeah, apparently this is something that happened. Honestly, like I heard that the Minecraft movie was a bit soulless and didn't work, but I was so excited to see it regardless because I was there from day one. I have an affection for the source material and the game. I like Jack Black and movies. I thought it might be. Yeah,
getting you played for not Fortnite, Minecraft.
Yeah. I was when I was a teenager. I was part of the generation that played vanilla Minecraft, and it was a little bit more wholesome, and I did things properly.
Mm-hmm.
And although it's been passed down a new generation now, and they've kind of taken it, and it's become more of a meme game than it's been like Robloxed a little bit, and but I was happy. I was looking forward to seeing this, and then I saw the Chicken Jockey stuff, and I saw people bringing live chickens to movie screenings and throwing popcorn. I mean, like the thing I'm thinking about, I'm like watching this movie. I'm like, this Chicken Jockey thing, like this feels like halfway through the movie, and like, so you mean you were holding the chicken in your lap for 45 minutes before this thing just to reveal it and throw popcorn? It's crazy. I mean, so I've actively avoided that movie going to the cinema. I think I'll just have to watch it at home. I went back to Northern Ireland over the weekend there. Bear in mind, it's 2 weeks after the movie came out, and they were still doing it in screenings in Northern Ireland. They're still acting like animals.
Yeah, I heard it's quite an interactive screening. Even in the UK, people have been like going a bit crazy with it, which is, I guess, kind of good to see. I'm not sure about the Chicken Jockey stuff, but
it's good for the money.
None of us put Minecraft on our box office draft, and it's on track to hit like 750 million soon, I think. So we both
none of us did.
There. I do have to ask though. I've never played Minecraft, so I've had no desire to go see it. Maybe we'll cover it on the show at a future date. At this point now, but why is Chicken Jockey such a big thing? Is it kind of like the gentle minions trend, where it's just kind of a trend that's kicked off? Is it a big thing from the game, the Chicken Jockey? I
didn't know Chicken Jockey was a thing.
Okay, all right.
I've seen chickens, and I've seen like zombies and creepers and that sort of shit, but like I don't know Chicken Jockey.
Yeah,
I think it's just a thing that happened,
just an internet trend. Yes. Okay, fair enough. Well, I'll scratch off Chicken Jockey and
Steve's hot lava chicken.
Always good that people come to the cinema more, but maybe sometimes for the wrong films, and sometimes guys just be respectful as well.
Yeah, like I do look at those like screens. I'm like come on. I mean, the people have to clean up. And then people are like, oh, it's their job and everything like that. But it's not their job to do that. Love. They're not deep. Like, could you imagine like going to a screening and like 1,000 popcorn buckets have been flying around, and it's just like it's all carpeted as well. That'd be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So really feel for people who work in cinemas at the minute. Hope it ends for you. But they're leaning into it too. Like in Cineworld, they're doing. They did a 4DX screening for one day where it was called the Chicken Jockey screening.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, well, this is a place for you to behave that way. This is your safe space for one day.
You can do it. You're not going to be told off. Okay, I prefer that. That's a better way of doing things. Like, we're prepared for it. You can do it safely here.
Yeah.
All right. I'll scratch off Chicken Jockey. So, all right. This is a bit of a different turn, but Val Kilmer passed away.
Yeah.
That was sad.
Yeah, like that felt like it came out of nowhere. I mean, like all deaths do, like unfortunately, like with celebrities or anyone, but it's been this year, I guess, with that and David Lynch, it's celebrities where, it's kind of like you don't know it will affect you as much as it does. Yeah. They're just people that kind of like have always been around in your sort of cinematic journey where, Val Kilmer for me, it's growing up with films like Tombstone where he played Doc Holliday, even like animated films like Prince of Egypt where he did the voice of like, did the voice of Moses and everything like that. These are all the things I kind of grew up with. And it sucks.
Yeah, he'd been unwell for a long time, but sometimes you just expect people like that to bounce back, but not here. But yeah, quite a legacy left behind. What's your favorite Val Kilmer performance?
So I think a lot of people really enjoy him in Heat. I really enjoy that as well. But I will go back to if you've never seen Tombstone, Alex, he is.
I have not.
Incredible. He plays Doc Holliday. So he was sort of like the anti-hero of that Wyatt Earp story, but becomes friends of Wyatt Earp in the end, and they kind of become reluctant allies. And he plays like a Southern drawl Savannah gambler slash physician who is dying the whole movie of tuberculosis, and he is incredible in that movie. Really, really cool. I've never seen that movie. Watch it for him alone. It's one of the best performances of the 90s, let alone Kilmer's career. So yeah, I'll go with that one.
Okay. Mine is Dieter von Kumpf in MacGruber.
Oh, totally an Alex pick.
MacGruber's one of my favorite comedy films, and he plays the antagonist in it. And and it's just funny saying his name. So
I never was a big like SNL kid. I am now. I love SNL, but like historically, you'd seen all the MacGruber skits before, and my introduction was the movie that you showed me.
My introduction was the film.
Okay. Yeah, well, same for me. You showed me the movie, and there was a lot of writing on that film because you had picked it up so much, and it did not disappoint. Neither did Val Kilmer. I need to watch that again. It hits all the right beats of like what makes those 80s and 90s like action schlocky Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies just so hilarious.
So good, right?
We need you back for one last mission. I love that sort of stuff.
Maybe we should watch that when you're around next. I feel like Lauren would appreciate MacGruber.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she'll get the joke. Yeah, so that's a really good pick. So does he play? Because I've only seen it once. Was he was the villain in it, right?
Yeah, he's the main villain. Yeah.
100%. That's perfect for him.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, scratch Val Kilmer off.
Okay.
Not
Well,
in a sad way. I've got new Star Wars here, but I feel like our next episode is going to be a bit more Star Wars heavy, so we don't need to talk about the
new Star Wars, as in the re-release or the Andor show.
Well, actually, neither. It was more the announced Ryan Gosling, what's his name, who did Stranger Things and the new Deadpool Wolverine film, Star Wars Starfighter.
Oh, okay.
Clue yourself up on it, Chris, and we'll talk more Star Wars next episode. Let's leave it there.
Yes, sure.
A stunt category for the Oscars is coming.
Yes, there's two Oscar announcements, including this one, right?
That was my final piece on the list.
Say your piece.
My final piece was Oscar voters now actually have to watch all the films in order to be able to vote for them.
Interesting. How are they going to monitor that? How are they going to police that?
Through the online watching system that they have for the Academy voters to be able to watch a lot of the films. And if they don't do it through there and they see it in person, they have to fill out a form saying where and when they watched it.
So, like, if they're watching at home and it's a screener and the system tracks that they've watched it, what's stopping them from pressing play, going out for a walk with the dog, and then, I'm not saying that these people are like purposely like vindictive and deceitful, but it could happen.
I mean, that'll definitely happen, but it's just like, I don't think everybody's going to go to the effort of doing that. Surely not.
There's
quite a lot of effort just to not watch a film.
Well, I don't know, maybe people just I don't know. People want to be seen to do stuff, but don't want to do the stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate people, man. They suck.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
I think, I think it's a good step in the right direction to kind of like, because it is annoying to see bigger, like maybe lengthier, more slightly more difficult movies lose out because of the topics that they're dealing with and the format of which they're being told. So, more red tape is good, I suppose.
Yeah. Anyway, and stunts. Stunts is good, right?
Stunts is good. But what happens if you get a movie year where no prestige movies have, there's like 3 that have stunts? Then they'll do the popular movies, right? There'll always be your Star Wars. There'll always be the Mission Impossibles and stuff like that. And I guess like brings a broader appeal to the ceremony. You know, we're making it a bit more, less more prestige. Is that a good thing to you as well?
There's always going to be action films as well that have some kind of stunt in it. Like, I don't think there'll ever be a year where there isn't enough stunts. Stuntmen and women are used all the time.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of it you don't even realize.
Yeah. That's cool. They should do best steelbook of the year.
Why?
best remaster has turned it into like a Game Awards thing.
Okay. Well, I think we've been putting off the inevitable. Shall we move into our actual main portion of the episode, the films that streaming forgot?
This isn't even like some fabrication for the show to make it more entertaining. I genuinely forgot that we were going to talk about this right now. I was just having a nice conversation with you.
It has been nice. It has been nice. Well, we should mention before we go into this, we have new podcast artwork for this kind of revamped version of the films that streaming forgot. So, yeah, Alfie Hunter-Martin, who was on our episode 2 episodes ago, I think, where we kind of say goodbye to the Sony Spider-Man films, or Spunk, as I like to call them. Go back and listen to the episode.
Goodbye, Spunk.
If you haven't listened to it already. But Alfie, not only did he provide us with the film that we're going to be talking about today, he also provided us with artwork for this series. And actually, the artwork is so good, I think, that it
redeems the movie choice, yeah.
It redeems the movie choice. Okay, Chris, jump ahead there. But also, I think it makes me want to do this more, just so we can show off the artwork, right? Like,
oh, yeah, of course.
We've only done a few of these over the years, and in the early days of the podcast, we did it, is where you can find the largest amount of them within quick succession.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the more indulgent episodes that we do, but like, it's a lot of fun for us. I will never forget Santa's sleigh on our Christmas special.
That was great.
Seeing Santa kill hookers in a strip club is it's the stuff of dreams.
It really was, and I will never ever forget Atlantis Untold, the first film you ever got me to watch, which was kind of a crazy monstrosity of a film.
Yeah, I'll agree. Yeah. I'm still sorry.
So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so thank you, Alfie. Artwork looks great. I think we'll do this a bit more if people still like it, but also just because the artwork looks great and this is quite fun to do. So yeah, Alfie left us with a film, which basically we gave him the rules, which were try and make it like an hour and a half ish. It has to be a film practically nobody's heard of, and it has to be available on a streaming service. In the past, we've usually gone to Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime just has like a weird amount of very kind of small release, very forgotten films on their list. But it was nice to have somebody else give us a film this time, and Alfie found Sentinel for us.
Sure.
Which was not on Amazon Prime, even though I had to get a free trial through Amazon Prime. It was on Paramount Plus, and it was actually the most modern film that we've watched. It was a film that released last year.
Sure.
You will have heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
And it was an hour and a half, and it worked quite nicely in a way, because you came back from a holiday yesterday.
Yes.
And we were able, as you kind of stopped by my house, since you were flying through Bristol, we were able to watch the film before you went home. Yeah, home, real home. You're real home.
Yeah, real home. I am so glad we watched this together, aren't you?
Yes, I don't think this would have been nearly as fun if we hadn't watched this together. Actually, it would have been quite a difficult film to watch, I think, alone.
Yeah, it is straight on dead 90 minutes. I'm looking at the poster for this movie right now, and it's like it is just trying to copy the Interstellar poster, isn't it? Like, well, when you look at it from a distance, I mean,
yes.
It's got that little, like, it's like a spaceship eclipsing a planet / eclipsing the moon that looks like it's not The min's not. It looks a little bit odd. Yeah, this movie. Without cutting any corners or anything like that, Alex, this movie is dog shit.
Yeah. I look, as we said at the start,
it was always going to be. It was always. This is the point.
But we don't know. We hope. We always go into a film hoping it would be good. But yes, more often than not, when you're trying to find films within the depths of these streaming services, you're probably going to find trash. And we're going through that trash for you right now.
It is crazy, like how much trash there is. I don't know, like this is our first Paramount Plus one, and obviously it's quite a young streaming service. And like, but Prime, when you go in Prime, there's such, like we've said it before, there's such layers in Prime. Is crazy that you actually feel like if you're not careful and if you spent a whole hour at midnight just like diving through these layers, you might just find an accidental video of somebody getting murdered. Like that's like how unpoliced this streaming service is. And I think Paramount Plus is obviously like sort of similar. If it houses a movie like Sentinel, but obviously it got on there somehow. Yeah. But you can watch it for free if you own that streaming service.
Absolutely, and we signed up for the trial, so in a way we saw it for free as well. I'm cancelling that shit immediately.
Yeah, we were the only analytic on Paramount Plus that got a membership to watch this movie.
Well, should we tell our audience a little bit about the film then?
Please, do your best.
So apparently, I've got here that it was actually envisioned as a throwback to 1980s genre cinema. Drawing inspiration from classic sci-fi and action films, which it draws a lot of inspiration from a lot of films, I think we would say.
Not just that decade.
So yeah, the story's set in the year 2155, where Earth has been overtaken by an alien force known as the Sentinel, who's kind of arrived through a multi-dimensional portal and maybe started a zombie apocalypse. I'm not fully sure. The story... I'm reading a different thing now.
So the Sentinel is like a god-like alien humanoid thing. It kind of looks a bit like a xenomorph, kind of looks like the Stranger Things guy, kind of looks like Predator.
Kind of looks like a fat guy in an alien suit.
Yeah, a Power Rangers villain of the week. Yeah, all those things. But
yeah, definitely a villain of the week. Remind me of like something from The Flash at one point, and I really like The Flash, like the CW show Flash.
Oh, right, okay, that one. Yeah,
but like it did have some pretty like dodgy villain effects sometimes. But anyway, the survivors of Earth are now they now live on the moon as part of a mining colony, and a trio of elite fighters is dispatched back to Earth with a mission to eliminate the Sentinel. But what they don't know is that one of those members has a secret agenda involving time travel to do the same thing, like prevent the entire invasion altogether.
You're diving deep now.
Yeah. So it goes off the rails pretty fast.
I think the thing for us that, like, I think the movie does communicate to us pretty early on that we are going through time. This is a time travel movie, but it's so bad at communicating that I think it took us till halfway through the movie to kind of realize that, like, our three main characters go time travel back to Earth to stop the Sentinel from doing its thing and taking over and wiping out humanity, right? Making zombies. But our trio, big mistake. Like, they should have these people, like these three actors, besides maybe Jason Armour, who plays Damon Singleton. Yeah. He's got a little bit of charisma. The other two, Robin Hunters, and is it Jared Williams? The other two of them have no charisma. So they should have.
One of them looks like no offense to him, I think it's more the costume department, but he's quite a short guy as well.
He's a short British guy.
It looks like he has no neck a lot of the film.
Yeah, they do. The costume department gave him no neck. Which doesn't do him any favors. So those two have no charisma. So we start off, we think it's going to be like a dynamic trio movie where they're going to be bouncing off each other, not getting along, but we're going to have a little bit of fun. There's promise of potentially having that. And then we split these characters apart, and they're all doing their own little different tasks on, the decaying Earth. And then it took me like 30 minutes to actually realize that they were all on different time periods.
Yeah.
It was the same for you, right? Where it was just like, oh, right, they're in the same, at one part of the movie, one character's doing something, they're covered, there's foliage around them, there's greenery, and they're standing in the same place as the other character in another scene, standing in the same place at a different period of time, but no greenery around them. So it's like, it took till that moment for me to be like, oh, but apart from that, just people walking around empty warehouses or industrial estates.
Yeah.
Never
really interacting with another human for like at least two of the characters, which is quite awkward in a
There's
film.
a lot of no dialogue, actually.
Yeah. I mean, you could have cut half an hour out of this film, I think, as well, from just kind of very boring sequences. But yeah, and it's very heavy on the special effects, but the special effects aren't great. So maybe you would find a way to not lean so heavy on them. But yeah, you're right. I think the film wanted you to be surprised that they were all in different timelines, but it kind of feels a bit awkward and clunky. But then what happens there is one of the characters gets to meet his dad, who died.
Yes, Joel from The Last of Us, yeah.
With zero emotional payoff, or like there's not really a story there. It's just kind of like, isn't that neat? And then Jason R. Moore just kind of wanders around, not doing much for the most part. And then Robin Hunter's your other actress, who is also alone for the most part, she gets to go on an extended motorbike sequence on a custom-made motorbike for the film, which, to be fair, did look pretty sweet.
Did it?
Like, the motorbike looked cool. The motor that I'm saying is the motorbike looked cool.
I thought the motorbike looked lame.
But then you have this 5-minute, maybe even longer sequence of her riding through the Italian Alps on a motorbike with very terrible kind of CGI explosions kind of filtered on top of the film.
She's dodging missiles, but every missile hits her.
Yeah, just constantly clipping in and out. It makes you wonder how this kind of film is made. And then I think that the bits that always kind of took the momentum out of it for me was there's another storyline with the president of the moon, who is constantly doing these kind of, public service announcements.
Yeah.
And he's pretty sleazy. He's trying to take credit for the trip, and then when the trip goes bad, to be honest, I don't really remember, and I only saw it yesterday. I don't really remember what he was doing half of the film. But I just found that those sequences took any momentum the film had for me, and there wasn't much to begin with, and just kind of hit the brakes. And it was just I just give me less of the president. It's not funny. It's not funny.
I mean, like the CGI and special effects of like the moon, spaceport, and all the other sci-fi things happening on Earth, they all look terrible, but at least they're consistent. And then when you go to the present stuff, it's just a guy in a brightly lit sun room, talking to the camera in an ill-fitting suit and trying to pass as a president of some moon colony. And he's got an assistant that wears a turtleneck and puts his fingers to his temple and occasionally talks to somebody. That stuff doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. We got these two like sidekicky scientists that are like kind of helping the story kind of go along, and
in this mining colony on the moon.
Yeah, we got and they go to the sleazy bar, which is like supposed to be like the moon's version of Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah, but also kind of very Blade Runner-y.
Yeah. Like you said at the very beginning, it heavily inspired by 80s films. It's inspired by every sci-fi film you've ever seen. You'll miss half the movie's dialogue by just going like, oh, they're doing that. It's almost exhaustive. They're doing Mad Max at one point. They're doing, like I said, they're doing Aliens.
They do the time travel element at the end turns into Looper, doesn't it? Like each one of them like takes a little bit of the Sentinel, like part of it off.
Yeah.
And then in the future, in the next timeline where somebody else has landed, all of a sudden there's a bit of a weak point for the alien, which in a way kind of sounds cool in concept now that I'm saying it out loud. Just kind of underbaked in the film though.
Yeah. Do you trust like our audience is ever going to watch the film? Like, I forget where we stand on streaming these films that Streaming Forgot series, that like where we stand with spoilers.
I think we can spoil because either the people who listened to the Venom episode where Alfie told us about this film will have already seen it, hopefully, if they want to play along.
Okay.
And then I think the rest of our audience, which is probably the majority of our audience, do not want to sit through a bad film. So probably here to hear us just kind of be shocked by what we've seen. So we're doing the public a service here by telling them what happens and why they should essentially give it a miss, right?
Yes, and look, it's so boring when you have the Sentinel, our main big bad guy, comes in halfway through the movie, maybe just before that actually, and is just like a target for all these plasma guns or weapons that we have throughout the movie that show up, and absorbs every bullet, nothing scratches it, only at the end of the movie to be killed by a harpoon.
Yeah.
Like, have some, like, it was so dull to watch something just get hit. Like, nothing happened, like...
But it's because they had loopered him, Chris.
They loopered him. Yeah, like...
A new adjective I have made.
But, like, sometimes the gun did work. Like, when they got really close and shot him in the face, that broke his carapace, or, like, whatever outer shell he had.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, the thing that is fascinating when you watch movies that operate on this level is, like, surely if I was on this, I would have been 5 minutes through production. I'd be like, okay, we fucked up. Let's just stop. Let's just stop here. But, like, to have the energy it takes to watch a movie like this, even with friends, when you're having a lot of fun, to think that people had to have extended periods of energy to participate and create and edit this movie is, I give them credit. I give them credit, to be fair.
Well, it is interesting as well because the film has an Italian and an American production behind it.
Yes,
and
it's a co-production.
The bar scenes which we were discussing earlier in the sleazy, Blade Runner bar, you can tell everybody is Italian there. Like, they've just dragged some people out of a cafe and said, quickly, just come fill this thing up.
There's a mixture. There's Italian, there's Eastern European actors involved here. Like I said, one of our main characters is British, and some Americans. Yeah, it's a little bit of like, just get whoever you can. Get whoever you can.
Yeah. Those nudity at the start? Which...
that was the biggest bummer.
For a minute we were like, "Thank you, Alfie."
Like the third shot of the movie, or not? Actually, we have a whole sequence at the beginning, but the first modern day sequence of the movie is a woman and another woman getting it on, and we get boobies, and we never get those boobies ever again. That's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, yeah. The rating went up, and then the rating went down.
Stefano Milla, you didn't deliver on your promise.
That's the director, by the way.
And you do, and you look
he
at...
makes about 3-4 films a year of a similar caliber. So this is clearly something that works for something.
And not to, like, you look on IMDb and it does look like the sort of person that would make this movie.
Yes.
He kind of looks like a lion tamer. / magician / Italian movie director. Yes, Sentinel. Have you got anything else to say on it, Alex? Are we missing something?
No, I think. Yeah, it's difficult. It's you know mostly where it's going, despite its time travel plot, which seemingly comes out of nowhere.
Sure.
So I guess you give it credit for that. But yeah, everything just feels a little underbaked. It feels like a lot of ideas from other films merged into one. visual effects that are leaned on, which aren't particularly great. Some of the shots aren't terrible. There's some exterior shots of the moon colony, which I think work quite well.
If you're visually impaired, they might look great.
Okay, Chris. Okay.
No,
I was trying to be nice.
No, I think they it's crazy. Like, I think they could have used special effects very sparingly and it would have been okay. But there's an overconfidence in some of those tricks, and the confidence isn't necessarily founded. And then they'll rely on the same stock shot about 10 times. There's a lot of filler. I think there's a lot of filler in this movie. I think the movie actually struggles to reach its quota of 90 minutes. A lot of slow-mo. They'll implement slow-mo whenever they can, just to kind of pad out a scene. Maybe it thinks it's being cool, Snydery, adding a little bit of tension or drama, but it never does. It always feels like a stalling technique. Yeah,
a lot of reusing of some of those effect shots, especially the exteriors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that shot when we go through the moon colony the first time, or we go through these series of bridges.
Yes.
Yeah, these uniformed bridges, like and we're going down, and we see about 100 of these things. I guess we're supposed to be shown that this place is vast and houses probably millions of people, yet we only ever see about 10 for the movie, for obvious reasons. I mean, but yeah, it's a fascinating movie, and it's quite an education to watch things like this, and just to see somebody you're I know you love movies, I know you've seen all the movies, and I know what you're trying to riff on, and I know what you're trying to accomplish by putting the camera here and putting it there, but you get it, but you don't. I mean, I can't say anything. I'm not a filmmaker, but I can tell that you get it, but don't get it.
Yeah. They've tried something big on a very small budget with a script that just feels slightly underdeveloped.
You've managed to convince a bunch of people that they're in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with this series, the idea is, we let you know, should you check this out or should it be forgotten, as it seems to have been on Paramount Plus? So what would you say, Chris?
I'd say, yeah, this one straight into the trash pile. Don't catch up with it. I had fun. I would not have had fun watching this on in isolation. It would have been torturous. Watching it with you, Alex, was kind of fun. But it's no Santa Sleigh. We don't only cover bad movies. We've covered movies that we've actually quite liked on the show. But this one goes into the trash pile for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's a forget from me. I'm not gonna recommend this to anybody apart from this episode on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe stick on the movie while you listen to the episode and just kind of skim through it.
Yeah, something like that. Well, I think that is probably a good place to leave it for this film on our kind of reboot of the films that Stream and Forgot with our lovely new artwork. But I'd love to do this again, Chris. I think we should do this again. Usually we find films for each other, or we decide on one film between each other to see. But maybe our audience have some films that they think are forgotten and would like to let us know. And in which case, drop us a message or drop us a comment on this episode if you're listening on Spotify. What film in the depths of streaming that nobody's ever heard of should we be watching next? And maybe you want to be cruel to us and send us something terrible, or maybe you want to be kind and send us something which is a forgotten masterpiece. But, please do send something in if you are aware. Next week, Chris, we're back to usual, aren't we?
Oh, okay. And what is that?
Well, you know what the usual is.
I know what it is, but I'm asking.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I know that you know that I know.
You know that I know that you know that we know that it's a 2 film and it's like a 2 new film and an old film. Except this one has an older film that's being re-released in it.
Sure.
But we're not going to tell you what that is. You'll just have to find out. But let's just say it's going to be very well timed for an episode that releases a few days before May the 4th.
Mm-hmm. 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 And we were not. Oh. Mm-hmm. My God. So if that's not a big clue, this is a movie that we could not pass out on any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, we're really looking forward to what that movie is next week, if you haven't worked it out already. What else will we be talking about, Alex?
Well, we're talking about a new release that everybody's raving about at the moment. It is was for you because you've seen it, but I have not seen it yet. The new Ryan Coogler film, Sinners. And then we're going to be doing our next blind spot on the Sight and Sound Greatest Films of All Time list, which I have seen and you haven't seen, which is Cleo from 5 to 7. So
that's a good episode. That's a good episode.
That's a good episode with a little bit of a special. Meow, 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 meow.
I left you alone that time.
You did leave me alone that time. Okay, good place to leave it. So that has been the episode for this week. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a 5-star rating or review. We do really appreciate it. And if you'd like to keep up to date with us, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Film Angle.
We also have a Film Angle playlist. If you want to listen to what we listen to, you can find that in the show notes. Be sure to catch us next week for more cinematic discussions. But for now, it is goodbye.
See ya.
Adios.
Bye-bye.